Oh, Jesus Christ.
Are we gonna fuck or what?
Next comic, give it loud everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have your next comic. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Open Mic Pain with today it's Justin and Wayne. It's kind of a sad but happy day. This is the first episode Anthony is missing, but it's for good reason. His wife had their second child. Everybody's healthy, everybody's good, so that's great. In his stead, we have one of my favorite comics that I see out and about in Lowell, Manchester area, Justin George. Justin, how are you today?
Congrats, Anthony. I wasn't sure if you told me his wife was going into labor. I wasn't sure if he actually had a baby yet.
Yeah, he did, and I find it it's amazing that he convinced somebody to fuck him 2 times.
Great.
But yeah, so we had planned this. Justin, you are our first guest. It was going to be all 3 of us, but we're gonna fly just the 2 of us today for that reason. So we wanted to ask you on to kind of get your take on where you started comedy, what got you into it, how you find it, just general comedy talk. So I guess unless you have anything you want to bring to the forefront, I'll start with my first question for you.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to know, what got me into it, or the origin or history of what I got into stand up, you were saying.
Yeah. So my first question was going to be, what caused you to first decide or think about going on stage and trying stand up?
I've always wanted to do it, and I did it once like 20 years ago, and there's an epic.
Did you?
I didn't. I thought I told you guys that.
Oh, that was that. Okay, I know which one you're talking about. I didn't realize that was 20 years ago.
So man, right. Well, maybe not 20, maybe 15. My first open mic was in Boston because I didn't know where there was any other ones, and it was on a Sunday, and I went there a couple times just to check it out, and there was like 5-7 people in there max, and I was like, I'm going to sign up. So I told the guy I was signing up, and cool, I show up, and it was a 3-day weekend, so every college kid in Boston was in the crowd. So there was like 75, 80 people at this open mic. So I did all right. I think I went like 2 minutes, and I told this bit, and everybody lost their mind. But I saw one guy in the front row looking at me like, I don't get what you're talking about. And I forgot everything. And I was like, that was my pocket. Yeah, I'm done. I'm never doing it again.
That happened to me at Coffee and Cotton the first time I went there. It wasn't a bomb, but there was one guy in the front row that was he had those oppressive judging eyes, and that will throw you off, especially if it's like your first or second time.
It was almost like you see in a movie, like it was tunnel vision, and all I saw was that one guy was crazy. But I think it was just the sheer fact that there was 10 times more people than there was the last 2 times I went to that place. And I tried constantly, like, yeah, man, no sweat, I got this, no problem. And I did not.
Yeah, it's amazing. I notice this a lot when I'm up on stage, how much or at least I focus more on the jokes that don't get laughs versus the jokes that get laughs. So I'll leave the stage feeling pretty shitty sometimes, then I'll go back and listen to it, and then I'll start picking up the laughs.
Of course, that's human nature, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember any of the first jokes you did, and do you still do any of them? Or?
I remember something. I forget, it was something like I hope I don't. It was something about like disappointing people in the crowd, and something about like pretty much I was saying my parents are in the crowd, so there's definitely going to be some disappointment no matter what happens. Something along those lines. I don't remember that, and that was it. That landed good, and then I couldn't remember the rest.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. Did you mention who bumped you?
No,
I don't think you said it just now.
So I forget what. Sorry, I forgot that part. So I want to say I was like number 17, 18, something like that. And then as it's coming up, Steve Sweeney showed up and said, "Hey, I'm going up," and he went up like 15th. So then it was like, oh shit. Then he did like a 15-minute set. Oh, everybody is under their piss. This is my first open mic. There's 70 people now. There's a professional comic opening for me, and all the other comics are pissed because Steve Sweeney just skipped everybody else and was trying a bunch of shit. Then the kid between me and Steve Sweeney's like, I'm not going up. Fuck that. And he left. So yeah, then I went up after Steve, which went as great as you could imagine.
Yeah, I've told the story on the podcast, but my first time going up, I spoke to a gentleman who had been doing comedy for a very long time, and I got really nervous because I knew he was ahead of me. And I said it, and I'll always say it. I don't want to ever see anybody go do bad or bomb. But that night, I was so happy he did not do well at all because that gave me the confidence to actually step foot on the stage because I was very close to just getting up and walking
Right.
out.
That's
So props to you for going up
well,
after
I mean, it
Steve
was
Sweeney.
almost like yeah, but you spend an hour getting in there. I'm waiting 2 hours to go up. I'm fucking around, and all right, well, fuck it. What else am I gonna do? Walk out now? But I know what you're saying. Like going before you, and that's why I always put my name after your name.
Except last week, which was very tough. I gotta say, it was very tough following you.
You were right after. You weren't right. Oh, you're right.
I was right after you. Yeah.
And, I had to get some air.
Yeah. I won't say why, but people were talking about your set before and after my set. Casey had mentioned it before and after, so it was tough going up after you. Very good job.
I don't know how much we were like getting into, but I did it, and I was like, I never thought, like, never crossed my mind, and I was like, man, I could get in trouble for this. I could like piss some people off right now. Maybe I should have like, hey man, can I talk to you for a second? Like, but I don't know. Yeah, but like as I was leaving the stage, I was like, oh shit, I really like probably should have whatever. But
I think it was well
I
received. If that makes you feel any better.
I think there was enough people outside that heard what was going on to come down. Like, yeah, what the fuck's going on? So I guess it was a good thing that Ren was outside at the time. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And as far as how much you want to get into it, you're more than welcome to get into as deep as you will, as you want. Rather, I'm not going to spoil anything of your set. And if I say anything you don't like, I can always cut it. But you can go as deep as you want.
I don't know how else I could really go on about without like giving it away because that's gonna be a staple. And what's what like I thought of that ending like 3 hours before. Like, oh man, that would be fucking hilarious. And
which leads me to wonder, did you have that prop on hand?
yes, yeah, I had it with
Did you
me.
really?
And then I forget when a couple like maybe it was like 3 people before, and I added the prop. But I think I'm gonna do it differently now. I get a better visual, believe it or not.
I can't wait to see it.
To paint the picture. I'm glad I watched the video. Like there was a bunch of stuff I added onto that I kind of wish I didn't, but I was more trying out like, well, we'll end up talking about later, but just like how I've been changing my writing the last like 3 weeks. But yeah, I was pretty pumped. That's I have to close with that one. You can't. There's nothing after that.
Yeah, there's no turning back from that.
Yeah, that's you're done. You're done, or you might get arrested.
I think the best way for you to end that is just waddle off the stage. Which, if you know, you know. But
I'll tell you what my plan is, but although I kind of want you. Well, so I'm gonna pre-cut it, and I'm gonna add some color to it.
Oh,
you think that's fucking funny? That like show them like, so
yep.
Rip it off, show them, and then if someone keeps laughing hard enough, I'm gonna throw it at them, and then just walk like this is fucking bullshit. I'm out of here.
That's good. Oh man. Oh, so you said that you've always wanted to do stand up.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've. Who were some of your inspirations when you were growing up that you were like, damn, I want to fucking do that?
While I was listening to you guys talk about comedy, is like there's I feel like I have two different generations of like people that I watched or listened to. Um, like Robin Williams, Steve Martin, Eddie. Uh, I've always been a big fan of Stephen Wright. I remember hearing him on the radio as a kid, like driving the car, how like monotone he was. I thought it was hilarious, even like 10 years old.
I don't know if you listened to Conan O'Brien's podcast, but Stephen Wright was on there a few weeks ago, probably at this point. Fantastic episode. I knew Stephen Wright. I know some of his stuff, but I never really paid
Right.
much attention. But that episode got me into paying more attention to him. He's
He
phenomenal.
has one of those. He has a bit from like it might have been before I was born, but he has a bit that I still think of like I don't know, half dozen times a year that I go on a YouTube and I have to watch it like 3-4 times. His Bucky Goldstein bit is it gets me every single time. I laugh as hard as I did the first time I watched it.
I would say a good joke is like a good song. You can listen
Yeah.
to it and enjoy it over and over again.
And then force my wife to like it, and if she's not laughing, I just look what beneath.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to ask this till later, but this is one of my questions that I'm really excited about. I know your wife is supportive, but does she find you funny?
Yeah, I think on the fly, like my being quick, like almost like you say that like you're at a group, just hanging out, just kind of like off the cuff. She'll laugh at stuff like that. Some of those jokes, like it's hard to like. I'm having a hard time talking about a joke, but not being on the stage. Like it's not, you can't talk or text the joke. So, but then I don't want to look like an asshole in my living room and like, all right, is this thing on? And then start doing a set in front of my wife, like I'm on the stage like an asshole. So
That's funny because I can't do that either. I'll read from my notebook some jokes to my wife to see what she thinks, but I can't actually get up and perform it, but I can do it in front of 10, 15, 20,
Yeah.
30, 40 people, whoever's there. No problems whatsoever. But just me and my wife, who we've been married for going on, 7 years at this point, together for like 12
Right.
or 13 years. It's like, I don't have that level of confidence, but I have the anonymity type of confidence where most of these people
Right.
don't know who I am, so I can just scurry away if it goes bad.
I've been, instead of like trying to do it now I would just give her like the premise, like this. Hey, this is a funny idea, and I'm going with this, and she's like, oh yeah, that could be funny, and then I'll try different bits of it, or I'll shoot the shit, and if she'll be like, oh, that I like that one, that's great, or you could definitely hear. It's not my thing, but you definitely would get a lot of laugh on that.
Mm-hmm. Does she ever give you any tags or anything, or try to?
No, if it's either like approval or I don't think you should do that one. Okay.
Yep.
Which means it's really good. So
Yeah, that's always the one. That's how I know it's good, is when my wife goes,
I didn't tell her about the punchline from the other night, and I was like, "Hey,
Oh, no?
check this out." And I had her, and she's like, "But it's not like it's definitely not the worst thing I've ever done that she's ever seen on a cell phone." So, like, it's an act, but like I used to like I'm just like ignorant of like in a conversation where I still like I want to try these things, or like I think this is funny and try a conversation. Like now I can just do it. So now I have no need to talk to my friends, so I can just do. Right?
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh,
Oh, you asked me. Sorry,
you.
we keep going. Keep
Oh,
diverting
yeah.
myself. And then I was definitely in the beginning of when Dan Cook first started coming out. Not his skyrocket, but I mean I saw him, and I was in a crowd of 20, and he was in and around that time. Him, Patrice, Norton. That was another group that kind of got me into it, and I've always still have followed it, watched it. I've gone to, I don't even know, like, easily 20 stand-up shows in in the Garden or at Hampton Beach. And then I was just like, I still was just having that. I was just spitballing with my buddies that I talk to about all the time with jokes, and it was like, man, I should really do that again. And I just started writing without even thinking about it. Like, maybe I'll do it, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, so that's a good question that I didn't think of till just now for some reason. But so your first time was 15,
Yeah.
20 years ago. Then how long have you been doing it since that was the one time you did it, then you didn't do it again
Yeah.
until recently, right? So how long ago did you first start?
April.
I know we ran into each other a few times, didn't talk
Yeah.
or know, but I remember you from
I
when
think
I
it was.
first started. I don't know, so you're probably doing it longer than me.
I started in April again, and I did like late March, and I think I did 3 mics, and then May was crazy. I couldn't afford a night out. Then I came back. So really, May, May and June. No, April and June. And so far it's July, so 2.5 months, 10 weeks, I guess.
That's impressive. I find Anthony and I have talked, and we both find it super impressive how comfortable you feel. I mean, obviously comfortable
Yeah, thank you.
on stage, but your confidence is like it doesn't say 10 weeks. Says a guy that's been doing it for at least a
It's
couple years.
I've been pretty good at like public speaking, and I think that's been more of like the part of it where I don't. One, I don't like it's. I'm not. It's not that I'm confident. It's just I'm not scared. I guess like it's just what's gonna happen. Just think just the stuff that goes on as you age, like things in life. You're like, what's the worst that's gonna happen here? I mean, I've seen other, go through other shit in life. Like this is, but I wanted to like the want for the quest for laughs of wanting to make people laugh outweighs the nervousness. And if I find that if I haven't gotten the reaction that I thought a joke was going to get while on stage, I think that's funny, and I'll use it. Like I'll make fun of myself. Like, oh shit, that's right. I don't know. It's I've been trying to just have fun with that and flow with it instead of like, oh no, I just bombed. I make fun of myself.
I struggled with that my first few weeks, like the second time at Coffee and Cotton, where there were a couple punches I didn't get laughs at, and I commented about it on stage, just not in like a funny way. Like the first one was like my throat rubbing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard me do that. Oh, you did the other night. It was a little bit different back then, but to complete silence. And I was like, "Oh, you guys didn't like that, huh?" And then I just kept going. But I found myself commenting every single time I didn't get a laugh where I wanted. I was commenting. I had that little meltdown in Jamaica Plain
Oh yeah.
that we talked about on the second episode. I've gotten much better at just putting my head down and going through it and taking the criticism as you should to better your material. But
The one time the bigger laugh that I got, one of the bigger laughs I got of the night was because I made fun of myself because it was a missed joke. But I did it right. I did it exactly the same I did before, and it killed. I don't know. It was an abortion joke, and when I did it,
I love that joke. If it's the one I'm thinking
as a
of,
safe, it killed, and then I did it at the winner's circle, and it left my mouth, and then nobody said anything, and then I remembered that there was like a group of 10 women right in front, and it was, oh shit, that's right, you guys have feelings. I forgot. And then that was a laugh. I probably should have researched this was not the target audience for an abortion bit.
Yeah, that's a learned skill. I think I still don't have that skill. I go to every mic knowing these are the jokes I'm doing, and I'm doing it whether there's 10 women there, 10 guys there, a one-armed man. I don't give a fuck. This is what I'm doing because I don't have that foresight to go, I probably shouldn't do that because
I've been getting instead of writing for 5 minutes, I write for 7, and then as the night goes, I'll go, I'm not doing that one now. Or one of them is if I get through it quicker than I thought or whatever, and I have time, then I'll do one. But I leave myself some one wiggle room with time, but also wiggle room with how the room is. If 5 guys have a joke on a similar premise, then I'll kick it.
I wish I was more like that. I'm not. I mean, because the times you've seen me, all of my sets have been pretty much one
Yeah,
premise.
yeah, yeah.
I got really into trying that for the last month or so, except for last week where I had a bunch of different ones. So I envy you for having all of that shit up in your brain where you could just pick and choose and then just do it the way you see fit.
And just from talking to you like the last couple of weeks, and I had a similar like what you were talking about of like you need the same premise to go, and like you want to be able to continue instead of a bunch of smaller jokes. Where I where like the whole story was if I in the story and I riff a little bit because I can go in a different direction. When I lose out of the story, I forgot where I would go back in, and then I'd be oh yeah. So like I said, I was doing, you know what I mean. It's obvious that I missed my spot. But I that was the first time I did more like scripted. I like more of these are my points that I have to hit, and there's extra stuff I can say if I forget it or it's not working and I can get out of it, then I leave it out, and I'll still save it. I'll do it because it's it's one of those like there's something there, but I have short and longer versions of the bits now.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. Anthony keeps trying to talk me into doing that, but it's tough. I find it really
The
difficult.
other I've been instead of like explaining the story, like tell the story like I would if we were here, not like, and then build this up, like pretend like we are just outside and doing this, and don't push the story on them, not explain it like they're not familiar with the premise.
You texted that to me the other day, and that was like one of the most profound things that anybody said to me
Oh
about
Jesus
comedy.
Christ!
I was just
I know.
what?
It made so much sense. Like I said, I'll send you. I have no problem sending you my first set, and it was very much explaining everything I was trying to say, so the punchline
Right.
would make sense. But if you just tell it properly, you don't need to do that. And that seems like something that's so commonsensical. I don't know. Is that a word? I don't know. Whatever. But it seems like something that should be common sense, but I never really thought of until you said it. It just
Yeah.
like clicked, and I was like, man, I got to go back and rewrite some of my shit because I feel like I do
like
over-explain.
now with that mentality, like your 5 minute set is 3.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think that comes with that too is it was an afterthought was if I'm doing this long-winded whatever, I'm like you could like I'm searching for something. I'm trying to like reel you guys in for this long percent. Now, the other way is if I just tell you how it is, like this is my stage, fuckers. Like I'm telling you, you list. Like, you know what I mean, it's a confidence thing too, and you can. I think someone that goes more direct with a joke or just direct with a sentence, they put out that vibe. They're like, oh, he's comfortable up there. We could, you're not worry about him. Like, like I'm not saying like I'm kind of farm, but you're listening and paying attention to the joke more than like, oh, I hope he does all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The more I've noticed that the more you have that confidence and command the stage and command the attention, you will get the bigger laughs. Assuming it's funny, but you will get the bigger laughs. When we were at Mike a couple of weeks ago, there were some people that go up and they talk like church mice. They're like, oh, what's the deal with airline food? And everyone in the back's like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? And then you see the guys get up there like Nick Powell was up there and he's got that booming, commanding confidence, and he did really well. And Xtina and Connor Ferguson were there.
That open mic
They're
was nasty. That was the best one talent
yeah.
as far as like just everyone that went up was killing. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
safe last week. That was. I got to give props to Connor. That whole Steve
Yeah.
from Booze Clues bit that he did. I gave him props on Facebook, but that was one of the funniest things I've
Yeah.
ever seen live.
I sent him a message afterwards, like, dude, I'm still thinking about that. And he did it right, and it wasn't like overdrawn or like overdoing the this version of Steve. It was enough.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking hilarious. That was good.
I would love to pick his brain on how he comes up with that shit, because every time I see him, it's like a different. I don't want to call it like a prop. He's almost like a prop comic, but he's not. I don't know. It's almost like sketch comedy, I guess. It's almost like sketch stand up.
Yeah. He's
A lot of times I see him.
like you could see him on like SNL type of format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does awesome. I guess one thing I wanted to ask you: what's your favorite open mic? I mean, it's been what 10 weeks now, so you've been to a fair amount. What's your favorite one to go to?
Has been so far.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. That's one of my favorite spots. I feel almost more comfortable on stage at the safe than I do in my bedroom.
That's a really good. Wait, what? What are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
What are you doing in your bedroom? I mean, so you feel more comfortable around a group of 30 men in a basement than you do in your bedroom?
Listen,
Yeah,
we'll talk off
all
air.
right.
But
So
31.
that's another. I might have to fill you in on a joke. I'm gonna try. Where are you going this week?
I'm probably going to hit one Boston Collaborative tomorrow, and I think that's going to be my only one. Yeah, there's a small chance I might hit something else, but generally once a week I can sneak out.
When I was the texting back and forth with you of like the different writing or different way of a joke. I gotta hand to you. I probably would not have been recording myself or give it to it as much thought unless I saw you guys doing that, and then you recorded my set, sent it to me, and then I was like, I had an idea of how I thought it went, and then I saw it. I was like, oh shit! Like, so I would have just kept doing the same thing over. Like, like I'm making people laugh, but I'm not like, getting something out of it.
I think it's really important to record your sets because it can go one of two ways. You can either walk off thinking that you were as good as Louis C.K., or you can walk off thinking that you absolutely ate shit. And when you listen back, you might realize just the opposite of one of those two things. You might want to abandon a joke just from how you felt it went on stage, but you go back and listen and you realize that people actually really enjoyed it. I think it's really important. So if anybody's listening, record all of your shit. You don't have to share it, but just for you.
And don't watch it a bunch of times. Just once, and then don't do it again. Because then you'll just do nothing but a cringe fest all day long, and that's all you'll talk about to yourself and anybody that wants to listen.
Dude, I wish I could take that advice. I listen over and over again because, like I said, I drive all day. So when I'm trying to work through my bits while I'm driving, I'll just throw it on. Sometimes I'll listen to it like 5 times a day and just kind of really pick it apart. But
so you like that is pain. I think I got enough. I watched it. I watched it like twice, and even the second time, I was like, all right, I know what I didn't do or what I did do. And I was like, out of every mic I've come out with, like, this worked better than I thought, or not even just a bit, but like what I did or didn't do. And it's always immediate feedback. As soon as I come off the mic, I send an email to myself, like, you didn't do this, you did this, blah, whatever, and then I compare it to what I saw.
That's interesting because I can't think that way when I get off the stage. I either think I did exactly what I was supposed to, or I fucked it up completely. I have a really hard time pinpointing shit.
I think it more of just. Well, you said you've done more like your like the linear part of like what you're the way you're saying, like how you're telling a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have more. Do you think you have wiggle room in there? Like, could you like skip out of the joke, like come out and then go back in, or are you like scripted word for word and you have it all the way through?
So it's mostly
Yeah.
scripted word for word. What do you mean by wiggle room? Like leave
Yeah.
that joke. Like let's say I did like the ghost joke. Could I like leave that, do a couple things, then
So
come
let's
back?
say in your you have your joke in a script and you have like this is a laugh, this is a laugh, or whatever. Like you allow a point in there, so this joke hit more, and maybe I could keep on this for a little bit, or this someone in the audience said something or didn't or laughed or whatever. You could go off that. So I feel like um, if I do that, I have a hard time coming back. Is what I'm saying. So if in your bit you got a reaction, you do this. So do you keep going as if you didn't get a reaction? You know what I mean? Because if you have the
No.
bit,
I react. I react to the
right? Okay.
audience.
So when I did that,
Yeah.
I couldn't come back, and now I'm terrified to try to do that. But I like the how easily I can flow from one to the next, just the way that I write, and it's not right or wrong, but I don't think I can
No,
try that again.
I kind of like when I have those bits. Like I talked about this an episode or two ago, but when I have those bits like Dick Talk, I have my key words. Like I talk about TikTok, and then I talk about the guy being interviewed on the street. So I know when I go to TikTok, I have my
Yep.
joke punch. When I have the guy being interviewed, I know joke punch, and then when I get to that question of that joke, I know where I am. And so I have like little, almost like little
Yeah.
markers in the joke where I know, oh, I just talked about, you know, that I do it every day for the rest of my life. That was the last thing I said. So if I get thrown off track, I'll know, roughly where I was and where I
Right.
need to pick up. I don't know. It works for me. I'm sure it wouldn't work for everybody, but and someday it probably won't. It's just it has so far. Maybe I've lucked out.
I think I think as I like improving or like the ability to do it, that I don't. It's just more in my head. Like I feel like I'm restricted if I go by a script, but.
Yeah, I noticed you're really good at going off the cuff.
That's like fun.
That's something I wish I was a little better at. I've wanted to do like improv classes, and I tried to talk Anthony into doing it with me, but he had no interest whatsoever. Um, but I felt like that would really help. But I have a hard time going off the cuff on stage. If you're in my office at work, I'm I can throw out some zingers, but for some reason on stage, I don't know if it's the anxiety of knowing that I have 5 minutes or 4 minutes, and I practice my set for that amount of time, and I have to hit
Right.
each point, or else I'm going to feel unfulfilled. Maybe that's
Yeah,
it.
and
I don't know.
I actually said the same thing where, like this past week, that I added, I said way too many lines on one bit because I was trying to like instead of like the joke and then there's like are these two lines that I'm gonna do, and then if I do it again, instead of these two, I'm gonna use these two. What I did was added these two and these two and these two to be like, all right, what works? Do you like these two or do you like, you know what I mean? So I threw them all out there for like feelers, which was dumb. All I was doing was kept saying, I think I said the word penis like 11 times, trying to like set something up or get a reaction. That was
Yep.
like,
You're coming after my
yeah.
record.
Oh, that would be a good bit. Like I'm just here to break Wayne's record. Just say dick for 5 minutes. Just say the word dick. Read it.
Yeah. Um, this is on my mind because Anthony and I just did an episode about parallel thinking and
Yeah.
joke thieves. Have you ever written a joke that? Actually, I know you have because I brought it to your attention, but I think it was different
Oh
enough.
yeah,
But that
yeah,
was parallel thinking. But have you ever written something that you just couldn't do because you're like, shit, that is exactly like.
yeah. when
something else.
when I went up that first time where Sweeney came in,
Mm-hmm.
my wife now, girlfriend at the time, we went to a show in Boston, and I was telling her there was two jokes. There was a dumb boyfriend voice that women use when they talk about whenever they describe.
Mm-hmm.
And the bit was pretty much like, look, if he sounded like that when you met him and you married him, it's your fault. Like if he talks like that, like
Yeah.
you had all the writing was on the wall. If he talked like that, then it's your fault. You're dumber than he is. And um, the other one was I don't remember who said that one. And then there was one guy that was get his name. It was on David Tell's. Was it Insomniac? He was
Yeah.
on. Someone opened for him, and I made a joke of now when I trim my pubes, I don't know where to stop. So it
Yeah.
looks, and I go, it looks like someone had a bonfire on the yard, and they just left. Like you have to keep burning the grass to make it look so obvious. And then someone said a
Yeah.
similar thing, like a garbage fire in the middle of the yard or something like that, and it was like, oh shit. But if anything, it was like it's a funny idea, and a professional also thinks that's a funny idea. So it was.
Yeah, I think Seinfeld did a very similar thing on his show where he was like shaving his chest and he was like one side was a little lower, so he'd come over here and do it and go a little lower and he kept going and then he did the whole
Yeah.
like I can't stop.
But
Yeah,
yourself?
that's awesome. Yeah, so what we had talked about and what kind of triggered that episode was last week at the safe. I did the joke about how being bald sucks, but the silver lining is I can travel throughout the Middle East without fear of being the subject of a beheading video. Anthony didn't say anything to me that night, but the next morning he sent me a video of Louis C.K. doing almost the same exact bit. Much better. He did it much better. It was his version was, the worst part of a beheading is how stupid you look when they hold your head up to the camera. They'd really hate me because I have nothing to hold on to. That's Louis C.K. joke. It's so much better, but I was really proud of that joke. I was sad that I can't do it. Right. That was too close. But I was really happy that I was thinking along the same lines as somebody like Louis C.K.
And I don't care if anybody says that's corny. Like that was a cool moment of like maybe I'm onto something.
Yeah.
Man, I look absolutely. Like shit. Oh my god.
I wasn't going to say anything, but no, you look fine.
Wow. Oh man, are we done? Oh my god. All right, what up? Roll on.
Oh shit. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say it's been fun. I'm really glad you messaged me. Whatever, a month and a half ago, that first time, and we met up. It's been great getting to know you.
I've had a blast. It's like it kind of is hard. Like unless you go with someone to open mics, like you don't have any spit. Like you want to talk to somebody about like how it went or what you did, but you also don't want to tell people you do it. And they're like, "Oh, when are you going?" And that's all they care about. Or like, "Oh, tell me a joke." It's like, no, that's not how it works. To be able to bounce stuff off of, it's like, "Oh yeah, there's a good idea." With someone else going through the same misery, that's been awesome.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I don't talk about this often, but when I started doing stand-up, I told a couple people at my work. I told my brother and my sister, and a couple friends, but not a lot of people. I wanted to kind of keep that to me. That was before we even considered the podcast. And then one day, I never used to go on Facebook at all. If you're watching this, chances are you've seen me post on Facebook like 8 times a week about whatever episode's coming out. That's about all I do now. But I never posted anything for years. And I started networking with other comics and, becoming friends and going into the groups and stuff. So I changed my Facebook profile to me on stage, not realizing that it posts to your entire friend group. Yeah. When you change it, all of a sudden everybody's out of the woodwork. Like, oh my God, do you do stand up? Are you singing? What's going on? Tell me, where are you going to be? And that is one of the most annoying fucking things ever. Cause it's like, especially when you're brand new, you're trying to work not just through things, but out how to not be a complete shitbag on stage. and you have 1,000 different people trying to figure out where you're going to be any single night.
Yeah,
That's rough.
I've told like well originally like just my wife knew, and then my wife, my good buddy, and my brother, because they kind of were are like at the same wavelength. I think those two could do stand up. They would never do it, but I like bounce an
Mm-hmm.
idea. Oh, I'll say something, and it was nice. They're both we're on the same wavelength, but not like copycat or like, oh yeah, that's really good. Stay with that. Like, I know I would have done it this way, or what about this? How about this idea or this? It's been another like I said, sad, but it's like a resource. We go bouncing stuff off. You just go on some
Mm-hmm.
20-minute tangent, you're laughing your ass off, and you've totally forgot like what you were even joking about. But it's helped.
Yeah, yeah. So is that pretty much who you share your stuff with? I know occasionally you'll
Yeah,
send me things, but do you have other people, or do you like send your videos to or other
no,
random people?
just well, not. I just want.
No.
Hey, what's your name? Hey, check this out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
no, people know that. Some people, more people are not like finding out only because it just like comes up in conversation. Like, hey, how's it going? What's new? I heard from so and so you did stand up. Yeah, how'd that go? And that's been it. But for the most part, it's been just like that original group of who have been sharing bits and ideas.
That's funny. I I work for a smaller company, and like I said, I let a few people at work know, and obviously word spread like wildfire, and everybody found out. The owner of my company, great guy, Jim. He came up on the podcast one time, um, in a joke, but he uh, he pulled me aside one day. He's like, "Hey, you doing stand up?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I am." He's like, "I want to hear
Yeah,
it." And I was like,
this.
Okay." And, awesome. Everybody there's awesome. We're all on the same wavelength, the way we think, and all of our jokes and everything. But that's still
Yeah,
the
yeah.
owner of my company. That's still my boss. It's the guy that pays my
I
bills.
like how we keep using the word
Uh,
wavelength when all we really mean is we're immature. Well, we're all on the same wavelength. Yeah, yeah, because we're just immature idiots. That's all. That's just a nice way of painting the way it is.
yeah, yes, true.
Um, so,
um,
well, I don't know what other stuff you had to cover.
well, I had more to that story. So yeah, he said he wanted to see it. So against my better judgment, one night I sent him the a YouTube link because I have all my videos like private YouTube, just easier to keep in order. That was on a Friday night. By Wednesday, he hadn't said anything to me. So I sent him a text and I was like,
do,
"Hey, your suspense game is
do I still
strong."
have?
And he's like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, I sent you the video on Friday. You haven't said anything." He goes, "Oh, the link didn't work. I thought you were just
That's
fucking with me." And that was a perfect out,
yeah,
right? I could just be like, "Oh yeah,
right.
ha." But nope, I sent it again. He ended up liking it. I've sent him a couple. He really liked it, and uh, that was the most anxiety ridden like week I've had. But
You keep
yeah, I
you keep
learned my lesson
avoiding
there. Oh no, I didn't because I sent
you
him a
keep
second
avoiding
one a
the
few
HR
weeks later. But
office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Take the long way around the belt.
yeah, yeah. I came in the front door. That I was like, I'm gonna skip that. But I don't think I had anything else for you. We went over that. Oh, one other thing, because this just happened too. I sent you the video. Hecklers. Have you dealt with a
Uh,
heckler yet?
no, I I no the only not a heckler, but somebody randomly said something out loud, like part of the joke. Like, what the hell was I? Somebody like added to my joke, like we were having a conversation. Like, is there anything you'd like to say? And it was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This, and I was like, thanks. And then I just came back. I didn't do it like I'm nervous. I was like, thanks, and we're gonna have this pause right now just to fuck with you. Just everybody, look at that guy. He's part of the bit.
I look at some people like Matt Rife. There's a guy. Troy. Oh Jesus, I can't remember his last name, but I see him on TikTok. Troy something. But they just constant.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody knows Matt Rife, but this other guy, Troy, I'm gonna find his name. I'll post it somewhere. But he's so good with just destroying hecklers or people who are being disruptive. Or I aspire to have that type of interaction because my last one didn't go so good. I
Wow.
posted it for those anybody who
Oh, that's
watched it. I
right. Yeah,
posted
yeah.
the entire video of me berating that woman as the promo for the Hollowed Ground
I think I have
episode.
like
Um,
just like defense mechanisms because like I got picked on as a kid, so a lot of comedy stuff is like that was my out.
yeah,
So if
yep,
because I'm up there, like I'm not worried or afraid. Like if it came down to that, I wouldn't be worrying about my performance. I would just shred. I think I would try to just shred someone like as if we were just fucking around at a cookout. Um,
yep,
but I can say that, and I don't know if it's cheating or other comedians do this. Is I'm kind of curious if other comedians answer this, but um, I have a couple things like at the ready to use to fuck with someone back, like almost like a what if game or preparation for if this happened, then I could do this or I had this, like a bunch of stuff almost rehearsed.
yep. That's probably the
I
way to do
think,
it. That's definitely
yeah,
definitely the way to do it, especially starting out.
but I haven't really, I haven't
Yeah,
needed it. Now,
yeah. I have to say, especially at like where we're going with open mics that are mostly comics. I think most of the comics, their version of being
yes,
disrespectful is talking in the back or
right,
leaving right off their off stage. Which if you come and go on stage and then leave immediately, fuck
right,
you. I
right,
had to
right.
sit through your set, sit through mine. Um, I know that's not a popular opinion with some people, but hey, fuck you. Um, but luckily, we don't deal a lot with hecklers. The most I've had was one guy who actually added to my joke, um, which the conversation me and him had when I was on stage, I actually wrote in my notebook, and it's
Nice.
now part of my joke going forward, which is pretty
You know what's
cool.
sad is that I'm
But
like I'm excited. Like I'm like, man, I want to get heckled. I want to see how I want to go and go get heckled to see how I react. Like it was like it's a class. Like, oh, today, find weaknesses in the crowd before you go up or something. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, I can do that for you if you want.
So wherever I go, you just follow.
I'm an easy target though, so
Yeah.
it'll be like first grade.
Yeah.
Like, shut up,
And
big
that's
bald
it.
fuck. The last question I have for you: what's your favorite comedy podcast?
One. I got to pick one.
Yeah,
I don't really know any good ones.
yeah, me neither. Do you have anything else you'd like to talk
Uh,
about before we wrap it
I'm
up?
curious
Or
of what you're doing this week. Yep.
at One Boston Collaborative. Yeah, so
I know it's usually get you guys go to mic together, talk about what you're gonna do, and then afterwards. But if you're not, it doesn't sound like the three of us will be at the same joint this week. So, what's your thoughts of how you're gonna do that? Because that was a pretty unique mic.
yeah. So we actually recorded that on the other Friday,
Oh, what you
um,
guys are gonna do coming up?
and
Oh,
yeah, well, just me because Anthony was they were supposed to go in without being too in depth. They were supposed to go in on Tuesday for the
right.
baby, but the baby came in early, so he wasn't planning on going anyway. So it was basically
All
just a short
right.
episode about what I was going to do. Um, so the episode that's coming out tomorrow is I don't know what's going to be called. It's either going to be called Be Cocky or Exhibit B or something along those lines. It's an episode that I'm sorry, it's a series of episodes we're doing where we're writing a joke together. And this will come out after that. So I have no problem talking about it. What it turned into is we have one premise where at some point during the episode, we decided that we couldn't really agree on which direction to take it, so we're both taking the same premise and splitting off. So we're gonna do. Actually, you heard Anthony
Yep.
do
Yeah.
Exhibit B the other night at the safe. That's where that came from. We recorded that episode. He did it. I'm going to do my version, which I might do tomorrow. But I think more than likely I'm going to do Dick Talk again because I miss it. And then some of my shorter jokes
I like to see
from last week.
You guys give each other a premise, or like you write for him and he writes for you. Type, you know what I mean? Or like I have a premise on this is what I'm working on in this bit. Now I'm done with this premise. You make one.
That's kind of what that episode and series is going to be about. We're hoping for a little more audience participation. So the idea is we can have people send in their ideas and we'll kind of morph it as time goes on, or morph each one. So the second episode of that series, we're going to play both of our versions of the jokes, like uncut.
Oh, that's cool.
And then just keep working through it, almost trying to show like the way we write, our writing processes, you know. But as to what you said, we did that when we first started. We would have like a weekly challenge per se, where we would say, all right, this week I want, like, one of the things Anthony said to me, I want you to write a joke that doesn't have the word dick in it, because everything I was doing was like about sex or dicks or, you know. Yeah, I'm still trying. It's Legend said he's still writing. And that week I said, well, I want you to write a joke that does have dick in it. You know, so we would give each other ideas and then try to, by the end of the week, we would have to submit almost like homework to the other person. This is what I came up with. So we have done that, but we never really perform those on stage. But that would be cool to say, hey, write a joke about this and perform it. That'd be
that
neat.
And just, especially the way that you write. I think if you could pull that up on your screen, like, this is how I said it first. Then the next time I did it, I took this, like, almost like you show how your script goes, and then this is now the finished product. That'd be like the evolution of, man, I have good ideas.
That is a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
That is a good idea. Maybe we'll do that maybe we'll do like a three-way. Do like a, what do they call that?
I'm awake.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like Italians.
Well, I lost my train of thought on that one.
We started going to Lawrence, and you guys, I wasn't sure if you did that episode where you covering what you're going to do this week.
Yeah.
So are you doing the same? You doing similar stuff, or are you going new?
Yeah, it's going to be similar. I'm either going to do my Richard the Gay Ghost joke with some of the smaller jokes that I did from the other night, or I'm going to do Dick Talk with some of the smaller stuff, or the third option is going to be shortened versions of Dick Talk and Richard the Gay Ghost together. So I'll do two jokes in, 7 minutes there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I could potentially do that.
When you say Richard the Gay Ghost, it sounds like a cartoon, a Saturday more like Casper the Friendly Ghost, like Richard the Gay Ghost. I like that.
I said that actually in almost in the after video of Hollowed Ground, where that's when I named it. I said I'm going to call it Richard the Gay Ghost. Almost
now you
like
should draw the character,
children's book.
Make a T-shirt of Richard the Gay Ghost, like what he would look like.
Oh my god, that'd be great swag, like merchandise. Yeah, great merch. I like that. I have a couple really artistic friends, so maybe I'll have that happen.
Richard the Gay Ghost. Oh yeah, that'd be a cool tattoo.
No, it's funny. I don't have any tattoos. That'd be my first one. No better one than a gay ghost. Imagine a ghost with like a pants tent.
Yeah. Would it be like a rainbow colored ghost, or like just very fashionable? Yeah,
probably fashionable. I mean, ghosts are kind of transparent,
like
so colors wouldn't come out so well.
A ghost is wearing a lot of like Martha's Vineyard sweatshirts.
Yeah, like boas and
over the top. All right,
that kind of thing.
All right, I dig it.
Yeah, a little over the top. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping
Nice.
to do. We'll see. But I talked to Jacques. He said he's going to go. So even if you don't go, I'll have somebody to talk to and not feel so out of place, because you said there's a lot of
Yeah,
practically professionals there, right?
and I'll explain it this way just so because I think I made it just from talking to you. There's guys there and they've been doing it for a while, and Max, he puts together shows and stuff. It wasn't like that. It wasn't intimidating by them or their part. It's just I didn't. This was not my anticipation of what a feedback mic was. I still got a ton out of it, but I went up first, and then once I realized the format, it's like I reverted back to like insecure 14-year-old, and it was like like America's Got Talent vibe where they are listening, but it's also like getting graded. And then I just kind of stumbled. It didn't go as well as I. That was my worst time up on stage. I felt.
It's got to be different knowing that somebody's going to
Yeah,
give you
I
feedback.
think I think the next
Like-
time I do it, I'd be more like, oh, that's how you guys do it. I thought feedback open mic was because I like we go to open mic afterwards and we'll shoot the shit like, oh, I liked what you did there, whatever. But it's not the same type of environment.
Mhm.
If you have to get like you have to be there a bunch of times to be recognized to go, hey, that was good. Try this. I think maybe like until you get in. So I thought it was all right. All
Mhm.
5 of us go, and at the end we compare notes. This was, oh, you're done, judges. What do you think? And then it was feedback, and none of the feedback was bad. I just I don't know. I was in my own head, unfortunately.
So actually, I meant to text you this. How does it go? Do you go up and then you come off stage and then there's like a silent portion where it's like a round table, or is it like a normal mic where they boom boom boom?
You're on the stage, and like, all right, that's it. And then as soon as you're done, it's like, all right, what do you think? I'm like, oh, I like what you did here. This joke was too long. You can make that down.
Oh
Yeah, I
Jesus!
like what you did here. Be careful how you say this. Yep, okay, yep. And then it's all balance and feedback, and I go, and then but it's not like just coming at you. And it's like, yeah, like there was one. I was like, I know I should have done that. I was thinking about doing this instead as like my next time I do it. And they're like, oh yeah, definitely do that one. And as much as that was my first time there, and they knew I've only done I don't know maybe a dozen mics. I came up with stuff for them, and they were open like, oh yeah, I do like that one.
I bet that would help you for maybe like potentially hosting
Yeah,
in the future, like having to actively listen and critique almost. But, I watched somebody
yeah,
like Derek Ziba. You've seen him at Clemento's. He's one of my favorite hosts because if you watch him at a mic he's hosting, he gets like those Undertaker eyes while people are on the stage. He's like just pure
yeah.
white eyes, and he just starts writing like a friggin' like he's possessed. And then he goes up and he says something 1,000 times funnier than I said on stage.
I
But
feel
it's
like
all relevant to what I said. I bet something like that would be
I
good.
feel like Derek's only because I was thinking of it. I don't want to forget it, but I feel like at Clemento's, that's like the mics there that I've been to and the flow. It's like host training. The way that everybody, yeah, the
Almost,
vibe I
yeah.
got. It was kind of I should have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do the same type of material that I would do. I would do there. It was almost like that would be practice for me. Like trying to host because of the way that they flow with jokes. They all talk about each other's jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that
Yeah.
I would like to get better at is the active listening. And you always see people
Oh
like
God.
Andrew McGinnis. He he's so good at just getting up there and just like ragging on people.
I forget who I was talking to. I think it was Nick Powell, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's funny. And he's like, yeah, that's his thing. And he just like goes off the crowd, whatever, and just so like like it was my first couple open mics, and I should have been like, wow, that's awesome. I was like, So he has no material. He just does it. He just buries everybody. He was like, no, no, no. I'm like, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This guy's fucking hilarious.
So I didn't realize that the first time I saw him, or maybe it was, I don't know, the second time, something like that. But I was wearing my Weird Al Hawaiian shirt, and I did a joke, which wasn't really funny, but it was basically like, it was, you ever seen somebody with a kid and thought to yourself, Jesus Christ, how the fuck did you
Yeah.
convince somebody to have sex with you? And then the punchline was, I'm not proud of myself. I used to do that every
Right.
day, so I had to take the mirrors off my wall. Not that funny, but whatever. He got on stage and he's like, "Where's the fucking guy with the hot dogs on his shirt?" And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you really think you're fuckable?" I was like, "No, that was my joke."
So where's the poorly dressed virgin?
What's that? Yeah. Yeah. He's like, "You don't even have friends, let alone somebody to fuck. They let you walk out of the store with that thing?" I was like, "Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?" This is like my 5th time here. So, but yeah, he, the more I see him and the more you realize, like, I didn't realize that was his thing. I thought he was just picking on me. I was like, okay, I mean, I'm thick skinned, so whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, he's good.
he cracks me up. Do you have a favorite? Let me know if I'm keeping you too long, but I just keep getting questions as they come in. But do you have a favorite, like local comic, somebody that you see around the area where you're like, oh, sweet, this guy's here, this girl's here. I can't wait to see what they have this week.
Anthony. No.
Yeah? No? I always get excited to see Anthony, and maybe it's because he's my best friend, but because it's exciting for me because I know our history and wanting to do this and seeing him grow has been awesome, but he's not who I would pick just for that reason. That it's an obvious answer.
I think, man, I don't know. I don't know if I could pick one. And I kind of like go in and out of like paying attention as like a fan and paying attention as like learning, I guess. And I don't like it wouldn't be like it's not fair to like, especially like leading up to or like there's 5 guys before me, and like that's when I'm like, all right, like double checking my notes or whatever, or like afterwards, like the guy after me is gonna be hilarious. Now I'm just chill and I'm not thinking about what I gotta do or like hit points and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if I have one favorite Canadian yet.
I don't think I wouldn't say I have one favorite, but I do have a series of people that I get excited when I see them in the crowd. Probably like 4 or 5. Nick Powell's up there. I don't think anybody's made me laugh more than Nick. Jacques always makes me giggle. Connor's up there, like we talked about earlier. Danny P. I don't know if you've ever seen him. I don't think I've ever seen him at the safe. I'm sure he's been there, but
I like seeing those guys. Danny and Derek from Manchester were big, and I've hit them up a bunch of times, just like questions, how about that, Mike, whatever, and like I didn't go up there for a bit. When I showed up, it was hey, what's going on? How you doing? Shooting the shit, and yeah, I like seeing those guys. Nick, Ren. I don't know what Mike Casey doesn't go to, but I think I've seen him everywhere I've been going. Yeah.
Oh, Casey Woods, yeah, he's another great one. It's almost like a crime to mention people because you're gonna leave somebody out. The Boston, the Lowell Manchester circuit has so many great comedians. Have you ever seen?
Yes.
So Robbie Partridge. He cracks me up every time. I've only seen him like 2 or 3 times, but every single time I'm just like belly laughing.
Yeah, he's I only see him in Manchester. I haven't seen him anywhere else.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I have to agree. That's true.
But I know he's done other. I've seen his name on a couple flyers and shit on Facebook. So We
All
just
right.
got a
Well,
level, I
I don't
guess.
have anything else for you. It's getting late, so I'm sure you probably want to go to bed. Um, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything you'd like to plug? I know you just started your Instagram.
Just started. I'm still even like trying to like work on it. I hate to like sound. I'm not. I'm old, but it's not like I just like stopped. I limited myself to one social media account is enough. I'm honestly more just like I made an Instagram account. Like I'm going to start putting stuff up there, over time type thing. No, as far as anything, blogging, I think if anything, I'll be trying to associate with you guys as you guys keep going. Um, So I'm going to self plug. I'm going to plug the greatest comedy podcast I've ever, the greatest comedy podcast I've ever been a part of. Yeah,
Awesome. We're glad to hear that. I'll hold on to that until you end up on like Two Bears, One Cave or something.
yeah.
So,
Or I'll just make my own, and then
there you go.
yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
Oh, you kidding? This is
I'm-
just like Sam mentioned earlier, just like talking comedy shit like that. I can't do it. I mean, my 10-year-old doesn't get it. I can't give her all my bits.
yeah, she's stealing from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely have you back on. We'll have to have you on for like a different topic episode or something, or just to shoot the shit again, because this is fun. Me and Anthony can only talk so much before we start repeating ourselves. So it's nice to have different viewpoints. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hit me up again. I'll try to link up with you, see where you're going again, anywhere else this week or next week.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I end up going a second time. Highly unlikely, but if I do, I will definitely let you know.
Well, yeah. Well, either way, let me know what you go. Now, I feel like I built it up that I'm like scaring you to go to Lawrence of that panel, but it was more in my head. It was I wish I saw it on video so I understand what it was like until I'm like, all right, now you're up. Listen.
Yeah, no, I'm not nervous. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, I used to DJ, so I'm used to being up in front of a bunch of people just staring at me,
Right.
and then telling me I suck. So that's happened many times. So
I mean, you're practically used to it by now.
yeah. It's almost like it happens once a week.
Yeah. Every time you walk into another room at home.
Yeah, you don't have to remind me.
Bye, man.
Shit.
Give me a loop.
Well, thank you very much, guys. This has been a worthy step towards the fuck. Hey, Anthony always fucks it up too.
Yeah.
This has been a worthy step towards the quest for laughs. Maybe we'll do like a 3-way. Do like a, what do they call that? Oh, Jesus Christ.